again, I say welcome to So Fat Television and to John's Sports Corner. And as we have said, and I like to update our viewers, that we started our platform on September 24th. And in 6 months, we are up to 32,000 subscribers, and we are just shy of 8 million views. So we know that our diaspora is tuning in, because most of what we are covering is diaspora related. So again, I just say thank you, John, for taking the time that you have dedicated over the last 33, 34 weeks to bring our community up to date and to introduce us to some of the persons who are impacting our community in different ways, which in the diaspora we are not aware of. And we have discovered quite a few of them over the last 6 months. So again, I say thank you, John. And Miss Wendy, welcome to John's Sports Corner. And over to you, John.
Thank you so much, Trevor. And once again, a very good afternoon to our friends and family. And again, thank you for visiting John's Sports Corner on the So Fat Media TV. But before we talk sports and our special guest, Miss Wendy Lee, let me again invite you to the Winner Circle radio store in the Sosa Bone shop and shop until you drop. And of course, as I like to say, we have the great Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee in the shop. The aroma will circulate through your house like no other aroma. So get your packets of the great Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee. Again, we have with us this afternoon Jamaica swimming coach, Miss Wendy Lee. Wendy, welcome to John's Sports Corner.
Thanks for having me. And let me start with, I start my day every day with Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee. And so I'm blessed. I have it right down the road. I can get it at any time. But if I'm not drinking Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee, I'm not drinking coffee. I'm going to go drink tea. So
Okay. Well, first of all, let me just say congratulations on being named Coach of the Year. Talk to us a little bit about your being named Coach of the Year, Wendy.
So for me, it's a very proud moment. But for me, like mostly the first feeling that I had was, I'm honored to be called Coach of the Year. But the proudest moment that I have about being called Coach of the Year is that I'm part of a great coaching team in Jamaica. We are, regrettably, there are very few pools in Jamaica that allow us to train and compete. But the pools that we have a family environment. It's, yes, I am the coach for one club, but we as national coaches and we as club coaches, we stand beside each other on the pool deck. And it's such a great environment with the other coaches in Jamaica also, that is just it the reason I'm probably able to keep going, because we have such a great relationship. So even though I was named Coach of the Year, it could have been any coach in Jamaica, because Jamaican swim coaches really feel very passionately about what they do. We're very dedicated to the sport. We care a lot about our swimmers. So it's not really about me, but it's about us and what we are trying to achieve as Jamaican coaches in swimming.
And I understand you were thoroughly surprised to be get the award.
Absolutely, because like I said, we have a team of coaches. It can be anybody's win, because we all working together on the pool deck. We're all getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be at the pool at 5:30. We all care so much. We're all working together for a better team. The national team was just selected, and yeah, we now have a great team of 30 swimmers, right? Both from who are training in Kingston. We have swimmers training in New York. We have swimmers training in Canada. We have swimmers training in Florida. So we all together working together towards making Jamaica swimming great. So yes, it was a surprise, because there are so many great coaches in Jamaica.
Let's talk the meat and potatoes of swimming in Jamaica, Wendy.
Mhm.
Because other than Alia Atkinson in recent times, we have not been able to produce world beaters despite a vibrant swimming program. Why?
S- Um, we're not creating world beaters, but we're certainly making Caribbean champions. So one of the reason I was named Coach of the Year because I have one of my girl swimmers is called Kia Alert, and when we go to the Caribbean to compete, and Caribbean, Central America, South America, she comes home with huge trophies, right?
Hmm.
So we definitely have Caribbean best swimmers, right? But we don't. The challenge that we're having is to transition from like high school swimming to college swimming. So that whole process of swimming in Jamaica, like I said, we have such a great family of coaches, and then the swimmers making the transition to the college programs is difficult. And because there are so many college programs available in the United States, you sitting here in Jamaica, you have to find that program that is the best fit for you. But you are competing against, I mean, everybody wants to go to to school in America because the experience, the school experience is so great. So you have to compete with the best of the best of the best all around the world, from Singapore, from China, from Japan, from Africa, from Australia. Everybody wants to train and go to school in the United States. So to get that spot in a college in the United States is what is the most challenging. And because of that, yes, we are getting great college scholarships and they're getting their education, but you really have to blend with your coach, and I think one of the challenges that we are having is to find that right fit college program that can guide us to the next level.
Swimming is certainly not an easy sport, Wendy. But at what age should we get our youngsters interested in the pool?
It varies. What we try to do as coaches, or what my philosophy is, really, we need to find the swimmers who are coming to the pool because they say, "Mommy, Daddy, I want to go to the pool." We don't want the swimmers who are going to the pool because mother and father say, "Listen to me, you need to train and you need to coach." Right? So that connection that you have with the water, that feel, some of us are is just our happy place, right?
Hmm.
When you find that athlete, they can be 3 or 4 or 5 years old, like the best of my athletes. When you talk to the parents, they say, "Yo, my baby was a water baby, my baby was a water baby from 2 months, from 3 months, them just love the water." Most of my top athletes, if you have that connection, you can start as early as 5 or 6. um, but then what is most important is what we are working on right now, and what I feel very strongly about is that you do a proper progression. So if you are 5 years old, you better be training as a 5 year old. If you're 7 years old, you better be training as a 7 year old. If you're 15 years old, you better be training as a 15-year old, So getting introduced to the water as before them can walk.
How,
Um,
how, ma- how many hours per day is required in the pool?
to be
Or
to be
does it depend on age group?
It depends on the age group. So we were just having a very interesting competition discussion yesterday with what we call our technical committee, right? Which are all the most experienced coaches. Girls like peak or maximize at 16. So between the ages of 14 and 16, the girls need to be in the pool. Right now we're doing 7, 8 sessions, and we are doing 40,000 meters a week,
Hmm.
right? So I know that in Jamaica, on a Saturday morning, you have many 5K races, and everybody's excited about a 5K race. But
Yeah.
we're doing a marathon a week in swimming in the pool, right? So if
So, and it's not just pool hours, but what about the weight training and nutrition then?
so nutrition is a huge one, and the other big one that we're working on now a lot is the technology, right? So the weight training, I don't really do weight training right now because, like I said, I coach athletes up until 17 and 18, and then my goal is to get them a great education and get them into the American system. I don't really appreciate younger kids doing the weights. There are the kids who are doing it, but I think you need to save it until you go to college when your body is strong enough, right? So I'm a huge believer in water, 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 water. When you become an adult, girls at 18, boys at 21, that is when you start doing the weight training, and that's when you start seeing the biggest impact. If you make a 15 or a 14-year-old super muscular at 14, where am I gonna get extra muscles at 16 or 18 to to build or to grow?
Mhm.
That's my philosophy.
Is training different for boys and girls?
Yes, training is very different for boys, and mostly it has to do with age and development. Right now, even in the United States, there are a lot of like 10 and unders, the girls are beating the boys, right? Even the 11, 12, the girls are so much more advanced and so much more mature that they're beating the boys. But by the time the boys turn 13 or 14 years old, them gone, leave the girls, right? You have a longer time with the boys to development, whereas the girls, you're more in a hurry.
Hmm. What's the difference between buoyancy and being a good swimmer?
It makes a big difference. What I've found really, for me, I feel really terrible, but and this is, when you go to the track and you kind of say, boy, this is a nice racehorse. I want to bet on this. What I have found with my athletes is um, the taller you are, the slimmer you are, and the more flexible. So, what you really want in athletes, when they're walking and they kind of look like they have spaghetti arms, because water is kind of fluid. So I find that the athletes who have a lot of fluidity and a lot of flexibility and are very soft and smooth swim faster. Um, than yeah, yeah than the kids who are stronger. Like the stronger kids need to do power sports. Um, and then a very interesting thing that we also have in Jamaica, there's a stroke called breaststroke, which is like the frog. I
Hmm.
There are there are now three swimmers that I have coached who have transitioned from breaststroke to high jump and triple jump and pole vaulting. So
Hmm.
that springiness from the breaststroke and that stroke. So actually, the breaststroke really does transition into track and field, which is really nice. So there absolutely is definitely things physically that you can say, okay, this person is going to be a great swimmer, this person is going to be a great butterflyer, this swimmer is going to be a great breaststroker. And if your child can do breaststroke really well, my advice to you is carry them to a track coach and see how high or how far they can jump. I'm like,
um,
guys, maybe the track coaches need to send their jumpers to me.
right?
Yes.
Is having just the 150-meter pool in Jamaica restricting development of our swimmers?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Um, we don't have enough training space. I have to say, comment recommendation to the Swimming Association and the government of Jamaica and Independence Park Limited. Right now, the 50-meter pool is in the best condition it's ever been. Like this morning, I was there and and the sun is shining and the water is so clear. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be in Jamaica. It's so wonderful. It is so amazing right now. The cleanliness of the facility, the quality of the water is fabulous. But the challenge that we have, there's only 500 swimmers. And so you're racing against the same swimmers every single time. So you're only
Mm,
going to be as good as the best swimmer. And the best swimmer doesn't have anybody to challenge them. So we are within our swimming community, because we have so few swimmers, we are not worried about country people coming to beat us, right? Us town
mm,
people, right?
mm, mm,
Whereas in track and field, if you win a race in Kingston, that don't mean nothing because the country people coming for you. You
mm,
know, we were comparing numbers I think in Jamaica, well, we're also sprinters in the swimming, right? We have 50 kids competing in the 50 meter, which would be equivalent to the 100 meter. On a Saturday afternoon at a track meet in Jamaica, you have 1,000 athletes trying to do the 100 meter dash. So you're going to find that one gem or that one diamond out of 1,000. Where if you only have 50, then there's just the probability and the numbers are just not adding up, right? And that is one of the challenges that we have. Are there talented swimmers in the outside of Kingston? Absolutely. I'm now working with a school in where are they from? In St. Catherine, and they have a 10-meter pool in St. Catherine. And I went to the to that school, and I found swimmers, and I took them out to that program immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only because a church in a different parish apart from Kingston built a small pool, and from that we are now finding our next swimmers. Can you imagine if we had 10 pools everywhere in every parish? Then we would really find our talent.
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you this though, Wendy. What makes the Bahamas so dominant in character swimming?
Well,
Little Bahamas.
Little Bahamas has 6 pools.
Mm,
Okay, so when you go to Bahamas, swimming is the number one sport. Everybody does it. All right. Bahamas also has I think they have a little bit more access to funding. So
mm,
paying for swim classes for more persons in the Bahamas is um is a possibility. I No disrespect to Bahamas, but it's one of the, like, I've been to the Bahamas and you can go to the beach,
mm-hmm.
right? In Jamaica, there, like, one of the things that I found about, and I'm going to big up my country because I love my country. Because I go to a lot of Caribbean countries, um, and what I have experienced about Jamaica, the ex, the beach, the river, the mountain, all everything. We have everything here on this island, and some of
Mm-hmm.
the other islands are limited by not having mountains. So there's limited activities for you to do compared to what there is in Jamaica. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have our music, and we have our culture, and we have our race car drivers, and we have our cricketers, and we have our netballers. So although there's only 3 million people here, we have access to so many other activities compared to the other islands. You know,
We look about with Talawa.
we look about with Talawa, and we have been doing. So we have a new president, Lance Rochester, and a new VP of swimming, Hillary Nixon, and our new technical director, which actually has Coach Jackie Walter, former Olympic coach, and we are actually doing a full analysis on what it's going to take to beat the Bahamas. One of the things that Bahamas does better than the rest of the Caribbean, they ensure that every race has a swimmer in it. And
Mm-hmm.
we are not doing that. So we have been hard and fast on, we have set a standard, and if you don't make the standard, then we don't have anybody in the race. So we're actually
Mm,
reviewing now how we can adjust our qualifying criteria, still maintaining the standard, but to ensure that every race, because you can enter 2 swimmers in every race, that every race in 2026 is going to have a Jamaican swimmer in it. And I think that will help us get to the next level, because we're not that far behind Bahamas. We've come second already. You
mm-hmm.
know, but so one of the challenges that we are having that we need to change is really putting the swimmers in every race, and we're
Doesn't
looking at
the
that.
doesn't UW have a pool, Wendy?
Well, funny you should ask. University of the West Indies. I'm very blessed because my club is Tornado Swim Club, and I have a relationship with the University of the West Indies. I'm the one who's actually taken over the management of that pool. So
Okay.
yes, UW has a pool. After COVID, it became or during COVID, it became a challenge for them to maintain it. But the way I love water and the way I love swimming, I mean, I just went to the university and they said, "Hey, let us bring back this pool." So through much struggle. It's been really hard because that pool has been there since 1950. It's a beautiful pool, and when you come down to the Mona Bowl, and you sit there by the pool, and you see you're surrounded by mountains, and there's trees. It's really good, and it's becoming a very vibrant pool. One of the other things that we're using the pool a lot for is for the work and study. So a lot more persons are learning to swim because you'd have never believe, but Jamaica's producing lifeguards by the hundred,
Mm.
by the hundred.
How long is that pool?
It's 50 meters. It's as long
It's
as the
50.
national state. Yes, it's as long as
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So we're
Um,
working on that.
let's move advance a little bit further now. You coached in last year's Paris Olympic Games. Talk to
Yeah.
us about that experience.
So we at our national awards that we had last a month ago, a week, like a few weeks ago, Alia,
Yeah.
we were so thankful because Alia was the guest speaker. And in her speech, she said, close your eyes and imagine your favorite pool in the world. And when I closed my eyes, it was the pool in Paris that I imagined. That
Mm.
wasn't voluntary. It was a serene experience, you know. um what I like most, so I have been working with Sabrina Lynn, who I went to the Olympics with since she was 8 years
Mm-hmm.
old. We've been Caribbean champion over and over and over again. We've been CCCAM, which is Caribbean and Central American um swimmer, over and over again. We've been to the World Juniors. Sabrina is now making to the NCAA championships. She's representing her school, which is LSU. But when we went to the Olympics, and I stood there, and that we were amongst all these other Olympians, what I gathered the most is the focus and the dedication. And it was such a calm place because everybody came there to do what they were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody there has already at the top of the game. They already know how to manage their nerves. Everybody was pleasant, everybody was calm. But in the pool, like, I mean, I'm coaching 10 and under kids, sometimes, and I'm coaching little kids, and the pools are so noisy. And then I went to the Olympics, I was like, oh my God, this place is so calm, So that was wonderful. Of course, to be in the village and walk by and see Shalian and just walk in your Jamaican gear and just walk beside her, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. You understand? When the Olympic Association, it was Independence Day, and then I don't know where them find Jamaican cooking of Paris, but when the oxtail and the curry goat come out, and you're sitting with team with Olympic gold medalists, and you're all sharing a meal, is an amazing experience. For us, it was an obligation and a duty. So there's a lot of pressure, but it was a good first time being at the Olympics for sure.
Were you satisfied with Sabrina's performance?
Absolutely. So I don't know if so. The Sabrina has traditionally been 100-meter swimmer, so that's 2 laps of the pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to that level, it's you don't choose which race you compete in. Like the Olympic Association or the World Aquatics kind of chooses the event for you. So the
Mm-hmm.
event that Sabrina was selected for was the 50-meter freestyle, an event that we usually shy away from because she usually needs the first lap of the pool to kind of gear up, and then the second lap she goes as fast as she can go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we walked on the pool deck, and like the commentators are like, oh my God, this is a slow pool, this is a slow pool, this is a slow pool. And I'm like, oh my God, we have to swim fast, and the pool is slow, and everybody's going to judge our time, because and the only thing people are going to see is, how, like, compare how fast she is and how fast she can be. And at the end of the race, she was made, I think, 0.3 seconds off of her best time,
Mm-hmm.
um, which everybody else was too. You understand? Just because of the way the pool was built. Because I don't know, the Olympics is not like an existing pool. They just took like a music arena and they built a pool. So it looks
Mm-hmm.
like an underground pool, but it's an above ground pool with a platform. So the pool was shallower. So that makes it slower, right? So in general, I spoke to Sabrina, and like as we had been practicing, she dove in. She says, walking out behind the blocks at the Olympic stage, you really need to have it together. You know, that was a
Mm.
surreal experience. So overcoming that whole experience, then she dove in the race and she was swimming. And like we said, she needs that second lap. When she reached halfway the pool, she says, "Oh, yeah, I need to start going." So based on the type of swimmer that she is and the race that she was being allowed to participate, she did the best that she could. She really did the best she could.
No, you just said something that I didn't know, Wendy. That I thought you entered whatever race you want to enter.
No, 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 no,
That
no. So the world aquatics is very complicated, but they have
I
a
didn't know that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Explain that
Right?
to us, please.
There's a whole system. So she does three or four, and based on the time, the assigned amount of points you have. And Sabrina's best at 100 meters butterfly. That's her favorite event. That's what we excel at. But when you compare her 100-meter butterfly using that World Aquatics table compared to her 50-meter freestyle, her 50-meter freestyle had more aquatic points. So they say the event that has the most aquatic points is the one that you're going to compete in.
Mm,
And she got it on
mm.
the 50-meter freestyle. So we had to do 50. You can't, they say, okay, this is the one with the most points. That's, we can't say, okay, yeah, but we really like 100 butterfly, and we this is our first time at the Olympics, and we're working for 2028 when she'll be old enough to actually be like a medal contender, and we want her to swim a 100-meter butterfly. That's not how it goes,
Mm.
you know. And so, and
You,
like for this summer, she's also qualifying. She has a choice between doing the junior Pan Am Games, which is the Caribbean and South America, and or going to the World Championship. And it's for that reason that she's choosing to race at the junior Pan Am Games, because she says, "Coach, if I go to the junior Pan Am Games, I'm still racing fast people, but at that level, I'm able to choose any race I want to swim. I can swim more races. I still get to swim heats and finals. And if
mm.
I go to the World Championship, yes, it's a bigger meet, but I'm not going to get the foundation races that I need to get."
You mentioned the pool being slow. What's the difference between because like in track and field, they say, "Oh, the track is fast."
Right.
How do
She
you
said
know that a pool is slow or fast?
it has a lot. So everything that we do in swimming now is to reduce what they call drag or resistance. So we are swimming as fast as a human body can swim right now. So a lot of the science that we're doing right now is not really about swimming faster, but becoming more streamlined. It's like comparing a race car, a McLaren, and a truck, right? So
Mm.
we're trying to
Mhm.
get as narrow and as skinny and as smooth through the water. A lot of it has. So the reason why they say the pool is slow, because when you're pushing down on the water and then the waves go down to the bottom of the pool, they bounce back up, and they're not,
Mm.
so they're bouncing back up faster. So a deeper pool is always faster, because the shock waves that you create and the resistance and the bubbles that you kind of disappear in a deeper pool. Where in a shallower pool, there's a lot more. Same thing when you go beach, the waves in the shallow part are stronger than the waves in the deep part.
Mm.
So it's the same
Mhm.
principle, kind of.
Following the Olympics, did you see any change in Sabrina's approach to training?
You know, that's a really great question. Sabrina, like I said, she's training at LSU now. This is her, I think, is
Right.
her second or third year. And so when she went there on her first year, the coaches said, so the way it works they have a sprint program, a middle distance program, and a distance program. And because we do the 50-meter and the 100-meter races, she was put in the sprint program. And so she went back to school, and I check in with her, and she says, "Coach, I told my coaches that I need to be in the middle distance program, because I don't believe that I am getting enough mileage. I don't like how I'm being able to finish my 100-meter races. So I better be training for the 200. If I'm training for the 200, um, then my 100 will become faster. So she took the initiative to say to the coaches, listen to me, this is the program I want to do. So, that shows maturity.
I guess that's the same principle in track and field. You
It's the
train for the
same
200 to
principle
run
in
the
track and
100.
field. Yes,
Is she set on being a contender now for 2028?
absolutely. Absolutely. That is our goal. Absolutely. Right. So this year she worked on, so I spoke to her college coach who's actually from Barbados. It's nice to have that, that Caribbean connection.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach said to me, "Listen to me. She better start scoring some points next season and making her name known on the NCAA, stage." And she sets she and her relay team set school records. She's made the A cut for NCAA championship. This is a big deal, So she's out there now representing.
Who are some of the youngsters in your care now whom you think have a bright future in swimming?
So the other two, we do have a lot of great boys, but right now I've been fortunate to work with two really wonderful girls. There's a 14-year-old swimmer. Her name is Kia Alert. She goes to the school where I teach, which is Hillel Academy. And at 3 years old, she came into my swim program, and she was just a star from then. I didn't understand the magnitude of who she was going to be or how she was going to be. But I went to her mom one day and I said, listen to me, your daughter is going to be a star. And she says, what are you talking about? She says, what is swimming? I said, Mommy, don't worry. I will show you what is swimming. Right now, Kia was the RJR Sportswoman of the Year,
Mm-hmm.
which was really great. Kia is the Caribbean champion. Kia is the Pan Am region champion. Kia is the next best thing. All right. She doesn't go into a race without the intention of winning. She's going to the Carifta Games at 13 years old, competing against 14-year-olds because the age group is 13, 14. And we're already talking about how many gold medals. So she's pushing through those 14-year-olds, right? Um, what I love about Kia is that she's really focused. She's very dedicated. Every now and again we're in training and she complains but you get rest. So I say, Kia, this is what we're doing in training. She said, oh, coach, that's so hard. And I say, ready, go. And she goes.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't skip a lap. She doesn't skip her training. And what Kia has also above everybody else, she has a winning mindset. So for
Mm-hmm.
sure, Kia Alert, she was hands down the Caribbean champion last year. She was RJR Sportswoman of the Year, and she's going to Carifta again. I mean, it's scary because she's 13 and she's going against 14-year-olds, and it's scary because you won everything last year to go and repeat. That's a lot of pressure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to call out the wins before we get them, but for sure we're doing our very best. Then I have another little girl. Her name is Kai Lawson. She's first year grade 7 at Woolmer's, and she is a really great swimmer. She doesn't know it yet. I've already told her mom today. I was already telling the mom, listen, I'm going to the World Juniors and we're going to make it to the finals. And you need to start thinking of your child as an international athlete rather than a Jamaican athlete. So both mom, and because she's 12, both mom and swimmer are coming to terms with the expectations I have of them. But for sure, Kia and Kai, good like gold.
Mm-hmm. Of the four strokes, Wendy, which is the toughest to coach?
To coach, breaststroke, hands down. Breaststroke is extremely technical. Breaststroke is there, and I don't know how many of you watched the Olympic races, but in an Olympic 100-meter breaststroke race, you will see 8 swimmers. Each one of them have a different technique.
Mm,
Um, then and you fix it today, you have to fix it tomorrow. You fix it the next day, you have to fix it the other day. And from my experience, breaststrokers are temperamental persons. They are very passionate persons.
Hmm.
So apart from, I also find that the breaststrokers, if it doesn't feel good, then they're not having a happy training session.
Hmm.
So the freestylers, I guess, because we do so much of it, and they don't really have off days. You just say, listen, swim. If you tell them swim 5,000 meter freestyle, they're going to swim 5,000 meter freestyle, and they're just happy doing it. Maybe every now and again they need a little adjustment, but the breaststrokers, if something is off by a half an angle, or the timing is off by half a second, it doesn't flow, and they become extremely unhappy.
No, I did a little bit of swimming when I was in school here. And one of the things the coach used to say to us that if you miss a training session, it sets you back about 3 sessions.
Absolutely, hands down, hands down. So on Friday we're having the Mayberry High School swimming competition.
Hmm. Hmm.
That means that tomorrow they're going to, instead of closing the pool at 7, they're closing the pool at 5. Okay. Um, That means that my senior swimmers who are going to the Curved Championship in at Easter in Trinidad are going
Hmm.
to miss an hour of training. And we made a decision that we are not missing an hour of training tomorrow. We are going to a different pool because we are doing our 2 hours of training. Now, can you
Hmm.
imagine? It's an hour. It's literally an hour. It's 3,000. And we are just swimming is just, you have to be so consistent that
Yeah.
even 3,000 meters a week, we are not willing to sacrifice, especially so
Hmm.
close to competition. And if we're going on a plane and the plane ride is at 4 p.m., remember we're going in the pool at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and then we go home and bathe, and then we go to the airport.
Yeah, because I remember even when, when championship time came around and you
Hmm.
had the early morning swim, you had
Hmm.
the afternoon swim, and a 10 p.m. swim.
Yes. And my
So
favorite thing, sorry not to cut you, my favorite thing is when the footballers say to me, boy, I have a match tomorrow, so I need to rest today. Huh? What is that? We don't know what that is. We don't know what that is. Rest? No, rest is bad.
let me ask you this, though, Wendy. Is it fair to say that girls give up swimming as they advance in their teen years?
Yes, yes. It's actually one of the challenges that we're having right now. Remember that they say that girls peak between 16 and 18, and after that is a challenge. But right now, for like even for the Carifta Championship, where the oldest age group is 15, 17, we have 9 boys who have qualified and made the team the team. Only 8 can go, and for the girls, we only have 4. It's a huge concern. It's a huge
Mm.
concern.
And I ask you that question, because I had my daughter swimming when she was young. And as soon as she got into high school, she came home and she said, "Oh, Dad, my
Yes.
hair."
Yes.
And she stopped swimming
Absolutely. Yes,
because
absolutely.
she was, to me, she was pretty good enough. And
Mm-hmm.
I started thinking, oh, college scholarship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's serious. It's
Yeah.
the hair, and it's the Friday night and not being able to go and giving up your friends, and how many times you have to we're going to the movies. No, I can't go to the movies because guess what? My hair not cute today, right? Or you're leaving training. Movies start at 8. You're leaving training at 7. You're going to the movies and you smell like chlorine, right? Where all the other girls smell like Victoria's Secret. It just yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes. It's real. The struggle is real.
I like asking coaches this question, who are more difficult to coach, boys or girls?
Um. So for me personally, um, I I have a very strong personality. So I like the boys who challenge me. in general. If
Mm-hmm.
like if you walk, if you know that boy that is going to climb the tree and throw the stone and run up and down and kick the ball, those are the boys that my spirit take to,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for me, I've had some really good relationship with the male coaches, with not with male coaches, with the male swimmers. I like the interaction also because I'm a tough coach and I will call you out. So and you can kind of butt up the boys, and you can kind of say, listen to me, stand up and act like a man. There's
Yeah.
many boys. What I've learned is you can, as a woman coach, you can butt up the boys, but you have to do it where nobody else can see. Don't embarrass the boys. Do not embarrass them. Do not make them feel small. But
Mm-hmm.
but the day that for me, because I always tell them you have to go through me to get to the championship. So that interaction between, because you have to be so mentally tough, and getting them to be tough for me is it. I have that relationship with strong-minded boys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then my best swimmers, I've only told you Sabrina, Kia, and Kai. That's who I've told
Mm-hmm.
you about. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's balanced, Um, it doesn't matter really. For me, it really is about mindset, and being mentally tough, and
Right.
having a win. Like the desire to win has to be there.
Do our youngsters see swimming as a pathway to college scholarships? Then you mentioned that about scholarships earlier in the U.S.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the way. Now, one of the myths that we have is that swimming is going to get you a scholarship. Swimming is not going to get you a scholarship. Swimming is going to assist you with to add on to your academics.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the swimmers who go to Campion get really good scholarships. So like one
Mm-hmm.
of my top male athletes that when he was swimming with me, um, we made it to 15th in the world for the juniors. Nathaniel Thomas has a wonderful academic scholarship now, and is getting a great education. He's still swimming at his college, but if he didn't get good grades, that scholarship would not have been available to him. So yes, swimming, you half can swim fast, but you better have an A.
Are there enough development meets, I guess, like track and field for swimmers in Jamaica?
There, no, there's not enough development meets for swimmers in Jamaica. Also, after age 10, we already know who's going to win the race. You know, the same conversation that I had with Kai's mother, because I said we're training tomorrow, and we're having a very hard training session because we're going to Carifta, and I'm not taking any time off just because we have a school meet on Friday. And she said, Coach, but we have a school meet on Friday. And I said, yes, it doesn't matter. Who is she going to race? There's no one for her to race. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Race, and challenge her. Same way, like all the top 3, 4 athletes in Jamaica of every age group don't have anybody to challenge them. There's a lot of regional competitions that we're good at, but we're going to Trinidad and it's going to cost $500,000. And there is no funding.
So do you have like the girls racing against the boys, or are they
No.
trained separately?
Yeah, no. We're Jamaican. We don't do that.
No, but I mean, in training, to maybe push
Oh,
the
in
girls.
training, in
Yeah,
training, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, the boys and the girls train together. So my top group has two girls. One is 12, one is 13, and my top boy is Nelson. He's 17. So they're training together because they have the same mindset. But Nelson has no one to race with. So he's only racing against the clock because he's a 17-year-old boy who's 6'4". And
Mm,
Kia and Kai is a 12-year-old girl who's 5'4". How are they going to train together? They have to train together. They have no choice.
mm-hmm,
But it's all mental, it's all personal, it's all internal. It's okay. You are going to do, yesterday we did 21 100-meter races. You have to do them at your best time plus 8 seconds. So Nelson had to hit the time on the clock. He had nobody to race,
mm-hmm,
and like I
mm-hmm.
said, the competitions are good, but And I mean, we can go to Florida, but again, going to Florida to race is $1,500. And it's
Yeah.
fine when you are doing that. When your child is going for their first competition, you say, "Yeah, man, I have $1,500." But if they have to go to four competitions for the year when they're 12, and four competitions for the year when they're 13, and four competitions at 15, I don't know. I don't know. They don't know 401k here, but that money could have gone to your 401k. You
You
understand?
mentioned about the Mayberry meet earlier. For this weekend.
This weekend.
Um, yeah. Um, how does that? Is that you going to use that as part of the preparation for Carifta?
Absolutely. So what we do at these swim meets now, the way they've set up the meet, they have heats in the morning and finals in the afternoon. So we get to just experiment with the races. We do a lot of feedback. Um, One of the things that I'm doing with Kia, who's like my top Caribbean swimmer, is where she's having an ice bath today, because what we want to see is how an ice bath affects her performance 2 days before, how it affects her performance. Because a lot of athletes use ice to kind of relax their muscles and to heal
Mm-hmm.
their muscles. So that's what we're doing. How do we recover? How do we race? What kind of warm up do we like? So it's yes, she's representing her school, and we're very proud and we're very thankful for this, for the sponsorship and support that we're getting from Mayberry. But for us, it's more of okay, what can we do that we don't usually do, and see how it affects our performance.
Your swim club is Tornadoes, and while your focus has been competitive swimming, I believe your club now is expanding into artistic swimming.
So we're
Can you?
doing artistic swimming, we're doing water polo, and we're doing master swimming. But our artistic swimming program is really grown. I'm very proud. I'm very lucky because I have a husband and wife from Cuba who are here in
Mhm,
Jamaica. The reason that I'm able to keep the University of the West Indies pool open is because they're managing it um, in the days. So that
mhm,
is their day job. And then we now have about 30 or 40 swimmers, of artistic swimmers now. This is the second year that we're preparing. We have a Jamaica United team. We have 12 swimmers who have made that team, and we're going to Florida to compete. And one of the things that we're so blessed right now, we're actually having a water show, artistic swimming show on March 30th at the University of the West Indies pool at 4 o'clock. We're using that as a fundraising, but we're going to
mhm,
see Jamaica's young talent dance in the pool. It's absolutely fabulous. I'm very proud that
mhm.
we're now Aquatic Club.
The Jamaica team, as you mentioned previously earlier, has been selected for the Carifta Games. Were there any surprise selections, or the team just kind of named itself?
Yeah. So, yeah. So you were asking me, were there any surprises for the national team
Y-
selection?
yes, or omissions.
Or omission, no omissions. Everybody who we expected to make the team made the team. We are blessed because we now also have the Goodwill Games, right? So right
Yeah.
now the swimmers who make it to Carifta, who don't make it to Carifta, are okay because we have the Goodwill Games in August. So we're okay
Mm,
with that. We have our usual athletes who have been winning forever, like Christina Shirley, so we knew the kids who have consistently performed well. What for me is the standout is that we had, and I've never seen this in all the years that I've been working with the Carifta team, and that's been since like 2006, 2007. We're only allowed to bring eight swimmers per age group per gender. And this
mhm.
year we had 9 boys in the 15-17 age group, and we had to tell one swimmer, sorry, you're an alternate. I've never seen an alternate being named because the team is
Mhm.
full.
Yeah.
So that for me is a standout occurrence.
Oh, because I was going to ask you that if ho- if host countries for the Carifta have an advantage, or does are the teams limited? Are uh,
So
selection limited?
Yeah. So for the Carifta champ, I think in track and field they're bringing like 80 athletes, because when we tried to book our plane to Trinidad, we were told that J3A's has 120 seats already booked.
Mm.
And one of the swim coaches said to me, 120 seats for a Jamaican national field? I said, yes, I think if in Augusta, in Augusta, as they say in Jamaica.
Yeah.
But um I think if I and I don't know much, so forgive me if I get the statistics wrong. I think it's up to 80 athletes, are doing track and field, but mostly in track and field you're doing one event, two event, maybe three, right?
Hmm.
Our top athletes are doing 12 events over 4 days. So in swimming, we can carry no more than 36 athletes. And
Okay.
of the 36 athletes, we can bring um eight per age group per gender.
Hmm.
So
Mm.
that's right. And so like I said, we had nine boys who made the qualification and the cut. And like I said earlier, we're reviewing that now, because what we want to do is expand the criteria to allow swimmers to do the longer races. One of the things that we've now discovered in our data and our analysis is that we have set very high standards for the sprint events. Um, and then we expect the swimmers who do the distances events to set the same standard. But when we are now comparing, and one of the reasons why Bahamas was ahead of us on that, um, they figured that the kids who are doing the really difficult races, like the 200-meter butterfly and the 400-meter IM, those swimmers' general standard is a little lower. Better right now. I have to turn on. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So what we were talking about is that you can only bring 36 athletes
Right.
on the team. One of the things that we are now looking at as an association, as a technical committee, is that we have set a standard for the 50-meter races and the 100-meter races, the sprint standard, which is very high. But what we have now discovered is that the longer races, the really difficult races, the 200-meter butterfly, the 1500-meter freestyle, the 400-meter IM, which is very, very difficult. Um,
Hmm.
the general standard in the Caribbean, using the sprint standard to measure distance and asking the distance swimmers to use a sprint standard to qualify, is actually one of the things that we want to take corrective measures in, so that the 200-meter butterflyers can also make the team.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
one of the things that we're looking at. And our aim really is to have 36 athletes represent the team. But we as an association and me as a coach feel very strongly that if you set a qualifying criteria and 16 people make it, then 16 people go. Not because we're allowed to bring 36 are we going to bring 36, because if you do not set a standard and ask people to step up to that standard and just say, give everybody a chance, what you're actually doing is just lowering the standard of Jamaica swimming. And you might be giving a child an opportunity, but you're not giving them the tools to get ahead in life.
Hmm. One of the things I need to clarify with you, I remember many moons ago, the Cross the Harbor was an annual event. I mean, I look forward to as a youngster. Um, is open water swimming similar to the Cross the Harbor?
So we right now we have one competition that is being held in November in Ocho Rios. So we have one open water swim that we do. But right now, Jamaica swimming is, I don't know if it's because swimming in Jamaica is just focused in Kingston, and Kingston people, beach access in Kingston is very limited, you know. So open water is not really, like if you tell a pool swimmer to swim in the ocean, they're not so happy. So
Mm.
what we need to do is expand, and our president is really trying to expand our program. We talked about the water polo and expanding the water polo program. We just got a letter, a recommendation, a commendation, I should say, from the president, because our Kingston water polo team traveled to Montego Bay, and we just had a water polo match at Doctor's Cave. And
Mm.
I was kind of like, wait, am I really carrying some people to go swim in the ocean? But they did it, they didn't complain. So open water swimming is a whole space that we haven't explored yet as a country.
Mm. Wendy Lee, again on being, congratulations again on being named Coach of the Year. And certainly, Wendy, I do wish you much success going forward. And thank you so much for joining us here on John Sports Corner this Wednesday afternoon. And I'm sure we'll have more conversations
It, it was an
because,
it was an honor and a pleasure to be here. I want to thank you for taking the interest in a little small sport. I want to thank you for being so dedicated in your questions that allow me to share with everyone who's listening. Did you say 38,000 followers? You know, that an opportunity to really explain what we do, and because we really are very passionate, we really try hard. But swimming is one of the misunderstood sports. So I really
yeah,
thank you for the opportunity that you have created right here for me and a platform for me to say, hey, swimming in Jamaica is a thing. And I just want to thank you for that
you
opportunity.
see, I was fortunate enough to have gone to school with Paul Nash. So,
Okay, okay, okay. Now you're calling some real names. You're calling some real names. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Paul used to say to me, come on, come with me to Bournemouth. I'll teach you how to swim.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, man. So for sure, we have some, we do, and I did some research. I don't know if your time is up, but I did some research. You know that from 1961, 1960, 60, what, 62, from then, there is no Olympics that don't have a swimmer.
Yeah, okay.
There is no Olympics that we don't have a swimmer from the 60s from Jamaica. Born.
Is that
We are
right?
sending
I,
swimmers to the Olympics.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.